Hello and welcome to Physics at Del Tech. My name is Dr. Mark Taylor. I think we can all agree that online learning or distance or remote learning is not exactly the optimal way to take a college course. Many of you are not completely comfortable with online learning format, and that's quite understandable. But before we go further, I strongly recommend you take notes while viewing this and the other videos for this class. Now, the vast majority of the information in this video can also be found in one of two very important reference documents that are linked in the one lesson plan announcement. The two documents are the Welcome to Online Physics reference document and the Policies and Expectations document. The Welcome document tells you where everything's located along with contact info for the wide variety of support services offered at Del Tech, and the Policies document tells you the rules and regulations, most of which are set by the campus or by the Del Tech Science Department. These include rules pertaining to taking exams and completing other assignments like labs, problem sets, etc. While you can just read parts of the welcome document as you need them, it's strongly recommend you read the entire Policies and Expectation document to understand the Del Tech policies for the class. In any case, please print them out in case you forget something or miss something during these videos. All right. So, as you know, this is an introductory course, and like any introductory course, much of the material is going to be new to you. I know that some of you have had high school physics, but for many of you, it was years ago, so we're going to assume this is your first exposure to the material. The course, however, is a bit fast-paced because it's a college course. It's going to be faster than what you might have experienced in high school. And if you happen to be taking this in the summer, this is an accelerated 10-week session instead of the usual 15-week session during the spring or fall, so the pace can be quite challenging to many students. Those taking this course in the summer have a significantly larger workload per week than those taking it in the spring or fall. In any case, it's extremely important you do your absolute best to keep to the course schedule in terms of watching the lecture videos, as well as submitting the labs, problem sets, and exams on time. Now, this is a fully online course, but for most of us, face-to-face learning is certainly the preferred way to go. I'm also aware that all of you have enormous life responsibilities, and recent events certainly haven't made life easier for any of us. Now, despite the many issues with online learning, I hope this format presents you with at least one advantage over taking an in-person on-campus course. And I'm referring to the fact that this online course uses asynchronous learning, which might be beneficial to you. The term asynchronous refers to the fact that the video lectures are not in sync with real time. In other words, you can watch them anytime you want, 24/7. This is not a, quote, synchronous course in which we meet at a specific time together on Zoom or in the classroom a couple times a week, though I might offer optional special topic sessions during our office hours if requested. Now remember, you're absolutely required to watch the videos for this class because we're not in a physical classroom, and these videos are your lecture videos. You can watch them anytime, so it's your responsibility to follow each weekly lesson plan or the course schedule and watch those videos following the schedule that's posted. The overall course schedule can also be found on the contents page in D2L. I strongly recommend you follow that schedule. Schedule links you to all your weekly lecture video responsibilities, lab assignments, problem sets, exam assessments, and even the presentations that you can use to print and follow with the video lectures. And it also includes all the due dates for every one of those assessments and assignments. Now, in addition, each week you'll receive a weekly lesson plan announcement with active links and reminders to all of the assignments and assessments due for that particular week. Now, you'll hear me say this throughout the semester. Take advantage of the many resources available to you. If you need help, if you're struggling with some material, if it's science related, technical, or even administrative, please do not hesitate to contact me immediately by email, mg.taylor, those are my first two initials, my last name, mg.taylor@dtcc.edu, or come to our office hours, or come to my hours at the Virtual Tutoring Center, or if you don't need my attention, there are other physics tutors available at the VTC, the Virtual Tutoring Center. There are multiple tutors, including myself at the center, 5 to 6 days a week, depending on the semester. The tutoring center opens at 9:30 a.m. on Monday through Friday, The center closes at 7:30 p.m. on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but it closes a little earlier on Fridays at 4:30. So 9:30 to 7:30, 4 days a week, 9:30 to 4:30 on Fridays. Occasionally, in some semesters, they'll open it up for very limited hours on Saturdays as well. I'm assigned different hours every semester to the virtual tutoring center, so I'll post my hours as soon as I know them. The tutoring center is closed on Sundays, sometimes closed on Saturdays, closed on school holidays, and some special times when Del Tech may authorize a shutdown. As for office hours by Zoom, I'll do my best to keep regular online office hours even during holidays or school closings, with the exception of times when my internet is down or I have to be gone for some type of medical reason. Zoom links and schedules for both the office hours and the virtual tutoring center are posted in the opening welcome announcement, which you'll see when you open up the course in D2L. So those are two separate Zoom addresses. Zoom addresses for both of them also appear in the email signature of my emails, as long as I'm sending emails from my laptop as opposed to from my phone. Both office hours and tutoring center are completely optional. You don't have to go in. You can pop into either one anytime during the scheduled period. You don't need an appointment, though you're more than welcome to make one in case you want to make sure that I'm available to talk with you on a one-on-one basis. And occasionally that will happen at the virtual tutoring center when some of the tutors are in big demand. If none of those times work for you, you can meet with other tutors at the virtual tutoring center. If you still want to meet with me, however, just send me an email with a couple possible times to get together by Zoom. Assume we're going to use the office hours Zoom, not the virtual tutoring center Zoom, as long as I'm not scheduled to work at the tutoring center. If I'm at the tutoring center, use the tutoring center Zoom. Remember, this is your chance to ask questions, make comments, or just scream your frustrations. It's your time. Please take advantage of it, especially if you need help. All right, now, another topic. As I've mentioned, office hours and virtual tutoring center are completely optional, but as of last year, a new Dover-Terry campus science department policy has been started that requires every student to have some contact with the instructor during each of the first 2 weeks in the spring or fall, or 2 contacts during the first week of the accelerated summer semester. So 2 contacts total over 2 weeks for spring or fall, in only 1 week in the summer semester. And that week ends in the first Friday of the semester. So for the fall and spring semesters, this means submitting one assignment, graded or ungraded, by the first Friday of the semester, and another graded assignment by the second Friday. So at least one of them has to be graded. If you're taking the course in the summer, both assignments must be submitted by the first Friday of the semester, as long as at least one of them is a graded assignment. Now, if class contact is not made with the instructor, meaning me, twice during that 2-week period in the spring or fall, or twice during that first week period of the summer, instructors are required to report that student as, quote, never attended. When a student is reported as never attended, that student will be dropped from the course with a U grade for unofficial withdrawal, which is something you absolutely want to avoid. A U grade results in you having to pay back your financial aid, in getting a failing grade on your GPA, and possibly even preventing re-enrollment next semester. Believe it or not, it's quite simple to avoid this situation. As I mentioned, the first contact for student attendance requirement, you can complete an ungraded or graded assessment. The easiest way to do this is just to submit your student questionnaire. It's ungraded. It's fairly easy. It's information you already know off the top of your head. So go to the week 1 announcement or the course schedule in D2L, click on student questionnaire, download the file, complete the questionnaire, submit it to assignments by the very first Friday of the semester, and that will complete your first contact requirement. Or you can log on to our Zoom-based office hours or my hours at the campus's Zoom-based virtual tutoring center. Again, the URLs are posted, and they also appear in the signature of my emails, as long as they're sent from my laptop. Now, log in to either the office hours or the tutoring center when I'm there and verbally complete your student questionnaire with me. I'll just type in your information for you. Or if you prefer, you can instead submit one of the graded assessments for the first contact. Now, the second contact must be a graded assignment, like a problem set, a lab, or a test of some kind. There aren't many tests in the first week, so you're limited to problem sets and labs typically. If you're taking this class in the spring or fall, this must be submitted by the second Friday of the semester. And again, if you're in the accelerated summer course, both assessments must be by the first Friday of the semester to receive full attendance requirement. Now, once that's satisfied, once the never attended policy is satisfied for the semester, you're good for the whole semester. Now, you can still get a U grade in the course just by stopping work. In other words, ghosting the class. Tech policy states you failed the course due to inactivity in the class. In other words, you stop taking exams, you stop submitting labs, you stop submitting problem sets, etc. Again, instructors are absolutely required to assign that student a U grade for unofficial withdrawal, not an F grade for failing. It's always better to drop the course before drop date than to stay enrolled and stop submitting work in the class. This is why I post the drop date in the course schedule. You'll find it right there, usually in red. It's very easy to find, and it'll tell you when you have to drop in order to avoid all this mess. Now, grades. It's very important, so we talk about the Dell Tech Science Department policy about grades. Obviously, you need a passing grade that will round up to a 70 or more to pass the course. In other words, 69.5 will round up to a 70, and that will pass. However, in science courses, there are two other grades you also have to have a passing grade for, or you will fail the course, no matter what your overall score is. These are your lab grade. In other words, the average of all your labs must be passing, and what we call the lecture grade. The lecture grade is everything that's not labs. That would be exams, if we had quizzes, and problem sets. So a composite grade of the weighted average of those would be your lecture grade. You need a passing grade in both, okay? Dell Tech policy requires you have a 70, in other words, a 69.5 that rounds up, in all three composite grades. If you want to check, all three grades are found in your grade book for this course. They're there all semester. You don't need to email me. In fact, I'm not allowed to send you that information due to federal law, but you can find your own grades on the grade book and find all three of these composite grades. This is departmental policy, and I have no discretion to change it. So as an example of the policy, if you've aced your lab grade, you have great labs, but you failed your lecture grade, maybe you didn't do so well in the exams, but your overall grade is still really good. Maybe you have a 75 or even an 80. The fact that you failed the lecture portion means you fail the course, no matter how high your total grade is. And the same goes if you failed the lab portion and you ace the exam portion, you still will fail the course, and that is not something I have any control over. So now, in addition, Dell Tech has another policy: 3 missing labs in the spring or fall, or only 2 missing labs in the summer, will also automatically result in a failing grade for the entire semester. So it's very important to keep up with your labs, which will also help you prepare for your exams. Remember, tutors can help you with the labs. All right, so as far as communication goes, my primary means of communication is Dell Tech email, mg.taylor@dtcc.edu. mg, my first two initials, .taylor, Taylor. Okay, I generally check my email 7 days a week, multiple times a day, so I should get back to you pretty quickly. If you've emailed me very late, I'll get back to you the next morning. Don't worry if it's an emergency. Don't worry about it not being the same day. We'll fix the problem even if you pass some due date. All right. Now, as I mentioned, your weekly lesson plans are posted as announcements, but I'll use your email to contact you directly. So make sure you check your Dell Tech email every single day to avoid miscommunication. We've had students fail the course because they missed an email that told them something important they needed to have done by a certain time. So please check your email. If it's an emergency, just email me again, and even if I don't get it to the next day, don't worry, don't panic, we'll figure it out, all right? Just email me as soon as you figure it out. While I check my email often, I don't always see things late at night. But when I see things, let's say you're having problems logging onto an exam and it's going to close that night, don't worry. If it closes, I can always open it up and give you an extra day or two to take the exam. That's not a problem. System glitches happen all the time, and I certainly would never hold you responsible for something that was due to technical difficulties. All right, now we'll just figure out a solution together, so please don't worry about those kinds of situations. All right, now, just as a heads up, Chapter 00, Thinking About Physics video, was created to help you orient to the material in this class. It's not part of the textbook. I created this pre-chapter material to help you understand how to approach physics. The video mentions some of the things that confuse students when they're taking a science course, especially a physics course, including use of words that scientists use a bit differently than we use in everyday English. It also mentions how many letter abbreviations that are used by scientists unfortunately get reused for a lot of different properties of physics or other sciences, or even for the units of those properties. For example, a capital W has multiple meanings in physics alone. It could mean the property of weight in one context, and we even have other abbreviations for weight, which you'll learn about in the first few chapters of the course. The property of work energy. Work is considered a form of energy to a physicist, and work is also abbreviated with a W, so that gets really confusing, especially when work is dependent on the weight you're moving to do that work. And there's even an abbreviation for electrical power and mechanical power called a watt, which I know you've heard of because it's on light bulbs. The watt is a unit of power for a physicist, and it also is abbreviated with a capital W. So I can't control what history's done with these abbreviations, but I'll do my very best to let you know which property or unit of a property we're discussing at the time. And oftentimes I'll spell out the words so that it's very clear to you. Now, this pre-chapter 00 lecture video also walks you through the concept of proportionality and inverse proportionality, which will come up over and over and over again through the semester. Proportionality refers to the fact that if one property of matter or energy changes, another will change in response by the same factor. For example, I might have a set time I have to travel. I'm on a road, I'm traveling, and the amount of time I can travel is constant. I can't change that. But if I triple the speed of my car, I'll also triple how much distance I can cover in the same period of time. That's proportionality. I triple the speed, I will triple the distance. Okay, in order to triple the distance, I have to triple the speed. They work both ways. Okay, but you can have something else. So one thing, the speed, in this case, the speed goes up threefold, and the other thing, the distance also goes up threefold, as long as the third thing, in this case, time, is kept constant. Now, on the other hand, you can have what's called inverse proportionality. What if I'm driving the same distance no matter what? Or in other words, I have to go a certain distance. I'm going from here to a certain store. It's always the same distance. If I triple my speed, the time it takes me to get to that destination will go down to 1/3 of the original time. That's inverse proportionality. One thing goes up threefold. My speed goes up threefold. My time goes down threefold. Okay? One goes up threefold, one goes down threefold. I can think of it the other way around. As long as the distance is kept constant, if the time has to go down, the only way to do that is to make the speed go up. So inverse proportionality, one thing goes up, one thing goes down by the same factor. And it'll switch either way as long as one's up and one's down. Now, I'll try to show you how to look at an equation, immediately tell what two things are proportional and what two things are inversely proportional just by looking at the formula. You might have to rearrange the formula, but it's very easy. And I'll go through that in that chapter video. It's not particularly exciting, but it is definitely important for your success with many of the calculations and understandings throughout the entire semester. Now, another note, final note before we close. You'll notice that in the videos and my Zoom tutorials with you, I frequently talk loudly. I notice I'm doing it now, so I'm going to pull my voice down. And that is because I have moderate to severe hearing loss in the high frequency ranges in my hearing in both ears. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you play drums for a few decades. I end up talking loudly. I'll probably do it in a minute. So my talking loudly is partly due to my great passion for all sciences, but unfortunately, it's also due to my hearing loss. I don't generally wear my hearing aids. I have them, but they don't really work for this type of hearing loss. So unfortunately, my voice will tend to drift louder and louder as we're talking. So I apologize in advance. I assure you, I am not yelling at you. I just tend to drift into louder speech because of my damaged hearing. Please let me know if my voice goes up, gets louder, and it irritates you. Feel free to say, Dr. Taylor, you're getting loud. And I'll say, oh, thanks for reminding me. I'll try to quiet down. And you might have to do it a couple times. That's fine. Believe it or not, you'll be helping me by reminding me to bring my volume lower. I won't take it personally. I just don't want to give you the impression it's anything besides my partial hearing loss. Now, well, to wrap up, please remember to follow each weekly lesson plan announcement or the overall course schedule that's posted, all right? Both of these have links to everything you need to watch, to read, to download, to complete, and to submit for this class. With that, I wish you the best of luck, and as always, please, please, please feel free to ask me questions when you need assistance. Don't wait until it's too late. And with that, thank you very much.